week 17 of 50 stronger. Everyone who has signed up for $4.22 a month or more at patreon.com/DGAF poker player got a 2-part lead up to this episode. It just showed up for them on the Patreon app and wherever they listen to podcasts. Important announcement. You can now listen to every drop of sessions on Spotify and or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Just go to Patreon, copy your personal RSS feed, and then paste it wherever you want to listen. Lead-ups are private drops of sessions in which I share everything that goes on in my life when I'm not at the poker table. They are typically much more intimate than the public drops of sessions. And according to hundreds of patrons, many of whom have been listening to this podcast since 2018, lead-ups are the best mental escapes available in audio form. Perfect for commutes, workouts, walks, or just trying to fall asleep after a busy day. If you too want the real shit, all you gotta do is commit to 422. But wait, there's more. For that $422 a month, less than one big blind for most of you, you also get access to all 8 seasons of sessions. And at that point, you will never be left with nothing to listen to again. You don't have to listen to every drop of sessions to get caught up in the story. You can simply pick and choose the titles that look interesting to you, and that should do the trick. But wait, there's even more. Included in that $422 a month, less than 1 gallon of gas in California, you also get membership to Patron Discord, the platform where listeners from all over the world go to have discussions and share their stories. Patron Discord is also where patrons play poker together, bet sports together with no vig, and some of them buy pieces of me when I play poker with no markup. Anyways, you can check out all the details of all the perks that come with each subscription tier at patreon.com/DGAF poker player. Okay. Last the patrons heard, it was Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. And I had been working extra hard due to the $1 Million Game on Hustler Casino Live. So in addition to my normal grinds, which keep me extremely busy, this podcast, running Lucky Lady Casino Live, a little bit on Poker Rags, parenting, hosting, whatever else, I have this big week. In addition to being a commentator, which I do weekly, I was a field reporter on Sunday. Yeah, I've never done that before. Fuck it, let's do it. And then I commentated Sunday night. And then Monday morning at 9:30 a.m., I was there for the pregame show. I'd done a few of those before. And then I also got a watch party going at Hustler for each night the $1 Million Game streamed. And then I commentated Monday night. And then on Tuesday, I did a recap show with Raver and Charlie, and I thought it was pretty good. Charlie's a great facilitator, and Raver was excellent. It was my first time working with him in that capacity. He's a little bit outlandish. He's kind of like Stephen A. Smith, and I know that is a recipe for success when it comes to those things. Okay, so all of this starting Sunday after a very major parenting weekend. That's my number one job, being a single dad when I'm down here in San Diego. My son had a baseball game, and my son and my daughter each had 5 basketball games. Yeah. And this is AAU, so it's a lot of driving and, waiting in between games and coaching your kid up after a rough game and, trying to get him ready for the next. So I was spent heading into this session I'm going to tell you about on Tuesday night, the $1,000 game on Lucky Lady Casino Live. Not only was I extra spent going in, I was feeling more pressure than ever going in because I was down to the case money on my stake. And I really don't want to have to reload. So this is it. It's winner, not winner go home like a game 7, but it's win or see if they want to reload. So I am feeling extra pressure going into this one, but also I like pressure. I can't even golf unless there's significant money on it. That's just the way I've always been. So $1,000 game Tuesday night, and I had kind of a bad-ish feeling going in. And I decided I'm just going to fade that feeling. Yeah. Because this could be, it's a joke. It's a troll, a friendly troll of the $1 million game. But it's going to be big. Minimum buy-in $1,000 is not a small game. And we're playing 5-5 Golden Bounty, and it's an action lineup. And I know some people from Chicago might show up. Yeah, Pink might show up, and Texas Mike might show up. You never know. He played Sunday night, believe it or not. Showed up at 3:30 in the morning with Pink, and they played our 2-3 stream. And this was ahead of $1 Million Game night 1 Monday. So this is a big spot, and let's hear how it goes after a sip of water. My first VPIP is pocket deuces. They're never supposed to lose. That's what they always told me. I think they do lose sometimes. So it's $100 multi-way. So we're all each in for $100. So it's 5-5-10. Someone put on the 20. Maybe there was some limpage. Maybe someone raised to 100. Whatever. A bunch of us in for $100, and it comes. What does it come if my name's Mariano? It comes ace, queen, deuce. My name is not Mariano, unfortunately. So it came ace, queen, 5. Okay, well, to my delight, it checked around. Okay, let's just peel a deuce dealer. No, the turn was an ace, and someone bet, and I folded. All right. You're always looking to flop a set in a multi-way bloater, especially when you've been running bad for well over a year. Whatever, it's just one hand. My next VPIP is another hand on the charts. It's ace 10 suited. And there was an open that didn't seem too strong. I put in the 3-bet. Huge cock Ken called. And Julia went all in for 2K. And I have less than 2K, but there are people behind her that have 2K or more. So she's all in for 2K, and that's the information I have. And when it gets back to me, I fold. If I've been winning, I probably call and, just feel like I have probably enough equity against, her range to call. But it's so close, and I'm so often dominated. I folded. Well, she had pocket 9s, and then someone wanted to see a flop. Everyone folded, and the flop came out 10 high. So not only did I fold a flip, of course, if I saw her hand, I would have called. But then I had to see that I would have doubled. And that's, it's just information that goes in your brain. Not useful information, but information nonetheless. Okay, the next hand I play is another one on the chart. So I guess I'm playing solid in the $1,000 game. I 3-bet queen 10 suited. That's a good hand. And Julia is the bounty, and she jams for a lot. And I fold. This is not a great hand to call off with. And she had pocket jacks. And so this is part of a death run. I commentate. I see people 3-bet all the time and rarely get 4-bet. It seems like almost every time I 3-bet, someone jams behind me. And I don't have aces. I don't have ace king. So it's frustrating. And I've been nubbed down to 600 pretty quickly. And I have queen 9 offsuit in a limper, which means $20 for each person. So it's advertised as 5-5-10 golden bounty, but it is 5-5-10 20. And the flop comes 9-4 deuce with 2 diamonds, queen 9. Suited Superman leads. I'm going to go ahead and raise here. He jams, I call, he has a set. Yet another thing that you get very, very used to on a death run. You flop top pair on a board that has plenty of draws available, and against a player who would play many draws aggressively, and so you get it in and he has a set. Okay, first buy-in dust, and I think I had 6 buy-ins left in the stake. I had like 6.5 buy-ins left. So I had I think it was 64.40. That's as deep as I could go. And I'm down 1,000 in the blink of an eye. So what? I'm going to rebuy 1,000, and I'm going to take a quick walk Not because I'm tilted, but because I don't want to tilt. And it's just not much in this game, and I need to get that perspective. It just feels so standard. All these hands thus far are so standard. In there with the small pocket pair and the multi-way bloater with 3-bet ace-10 suited against a wide open, get jammed on, have to fold. 3-bet queen-10 suited against a wide open, get jammed on, have to fold. Finally flop top pair, good kicker on a wet board, get it in for 30 big blinds, and you're up against a set. Well, that's annoying, but it shouldn't be. It's part of poker. The problem is when it happens too often, and it's been happening too often. So went for a little walk around the casino, put a fresh Zin in and came back and bought him for 1,000. And I came back and it was a double board PLO bomb pot. And so everyone's in there and everyone checked around. And then DJ Washburn bet the turn and I almost folded. I just had a pair on both and a flush draw on one. But I called. The problem was when he bet, he was on my direct right. So you hate calling and then someone says pot behind you. No one did. And then the river was a brick on both boards and he checked and I just checked. And he said pair of fours. So I don't know exactly what he was doing. He might have had a draw. I'm not sure he plays a bunch of double board PLO bomb pots, but I wish he would play more. It was my first pot. And it doesn't count for the bounty, but it counts for your belief in this game. Belief in variance, that it's not always going to be against you. And then I'm in there with ace-9 offsuit as the preflop raiser. Okay, that was not on the charts from wherever I raised in a ring game. But, no one's perfect. And I won. It was multi-way, and it came, small cards we all checked. And then I believe I became open-ended on the turn, and I think we all checked once more. And then I hit the river, and someone bluffed. Not huge, but I won the pot. Oh, I'm allowed to make the best hand. You're not used to that on a death run. Okay, and then it happens. I'm the bounty. What does it mean? Golden bounty. If you win a pot from the small blind, every pot you win thereafter in a row, everyone pays you 50. If you win it from anywhere else, every pot you win thereafter, everyone pays you 25. I think I'm just in the 25 zone on this, but that's significant. If you're in a 9-handed game, that's an extra $200. So I'm in there. It's a limper, $20 each. I have 9-6 offsuit, and the flop comes 8-7-5 rainbow. Oh my God. I flopped the joint. Me? Yeah. And after a couple checks, I just go ahead and bet here. I think it's fine. I think it's good. And Julia from Palmdale raises. Why? Because she's from Palmdale. And Suited Superman calls cold. And I have a feeling he has a strong hand. So when it gets back to me, I don't just call for deception. I go ahead and 3-bet. You don't want to 3-bet a ton of rainbow flops. It's just too strong. I mean, I guess it'd be cool to 3-bet as a bluff, but it's just too strong for value. But here I have some information that she already raised and he called, so it makes it a decent squeeze spot for me if I had a draw, like 8-6 or something. So I re-raise, she gets out of the way, and Suited Superman jams. And I call. I thought about slow rolling him, but this is how rusty I am when it comes to making the best hand. It didn't feel right to slow roll. When I'm getting a normal distribution, when I'm getting the best hand, a good amount of the time, and I'm in a bunch of pots, obviously, I'll slow roll a spot like this when I have the nuts and someone goes all in. But I didn't. I just turned over my hand, and he had 6-4, the perfect hand for me to see. So he's drawing to a chop, and we run it twice, and a 9 never comes, so we don't chop. Beautiful. I get a nice double up, and then some. Remember Julia from Palmdale raised. And I get all the bounties. suited, and Julia didn't have to pay the bounties. If you lose over 200 in the hand, you don't have to pay. But everyone else did. And here we go. I start steamrolling. There's lots of table talk. There's a lot going on. And when there's a lot of table talk going on, it's easier to steal. And you can do it by just making it huge pre-flop. And I did. I 3-bet DJ Washburn with, I think, 10-3 offsuit. And I squeezed with 9-5 offsuit. And I just took it down pre. No one had anything. I had a feeling that was the case. Also, very important, I had the image of someone who can have a good hand. Right? I flopped a straight against Superman. I turned over 2 winners before that. They weren't great hands, ace-9 offsuit and whatever I had in the double board PLO bomb pot. But that's how it works in the human brain. If you haven't turned over a winner, a strong hand, it's really hard to get squeezes through. But if you've turned one over, it's in their mind. The recency bias is, this guy can just have a good hand. You know, some nights it's like, there's no way you have anything. Well, it's going nice. I'm just winning pot after pot. And then I get ace king, and there's plenty of straddles on. Might even be a $100 straddle on. And I think there was a $100 straddle on. And DJ Washburn opened on the button, and I 3-bet to, I believe, 1,400 from the small blind. And we're deep now. He bought in for 15K. And he called. And it came XXX, and I did the old 1/3 pot C-bet. And he called. And then the turn paired the bottom card. And I checked, and if he bet, I was sending it in. I've run good for 3 hands, and I'm ready to play poker. Well, even the squeezes, if I count those. So I've run good for 30 minutes. Now I'm ready to play poker. I have the stronger range. I think it came 10-8-4, and I c-bet a third pot, which is like 800, and he called. And then turns a 4, and this is a great spot to check, and if he bets, to send it in. He can't call unless he flopped a set. And, you know, I didn't think he flopped a set. So he just checked, and we checked it down, and I won, I don't know, 2,200 in that one with ace high. And now it's going well for me. I have stacks of white in front of me. It's been a while. I don't even know where to put them. Usually I just have my little nub rebuy stack. You know, it's just like a few chips, and you ask someone, can I get 100 in yellow so I can pay the blinds? And it's going well. And then a stroke of adversity, a stroke of bad luck. I open, Hitchcock Ken calls, and Julia from Palmdale 3-bets out of position. Someone cold calls. I call. She made it 300. I call. Ace-8 suited. And it's a good multi-way hand in a bloater. And the flop comes ace-jack-8. And she bets 400. Call. Turn is an X. I'm not worried about her having a draw here. And I know she's capable of making a good fold when I raise. So I just call the 800 on the turn. And the river is a jack. And now she checks. And I hate this card. I believe it makes me lose. I believe she has a big ace. And now she has aces and jacks with a better kicker. And my aces and 8s got counterfeited. And it's also a terrible bluffing card. She's going to think, what, you were just calling me down with second pair. And, you know, sometimes, yeah, but not in a multi-way pot, I wouldn't. So I just have to tap the table and die. And that's what happened. She had, I think, ace king or ace queen. So that was what did I lose in there? I lost 1,500, but it stung. And then I lost another one. So I was up about 6K after my first rush. And then I'm up about 3K. And then something amazing happens. We hit the fucking jackpot. Huge got Ken jammed pre-flop. And Nathan Ramirez, one of the superstar production guys from Hustle Casino Live, who was in the game, thought about folding ace king suited because this is a big game for him. He's, young. He's not even 21. He has a fake ID. No, I think he's 21, somewhere around there. But he thought about folding ace king suited, finally put in the call for his, chips, which is maybe his bankroll. I don't know. And the flop came out ace, ace, king, X, ace. So he had 4 aces, and Huge Cock Ken had jacks, and that's a jackpot. And it was just this energy in there that we don't often have, or at least I don't experience it too often. I think I get $850 from a player's share, and I'm going to tip, the dealer well and the floor man well. So it's not even like winning a good pot, but it's cool for Nathan, and it's cool for Huge Cock Ken, and it's cool for everyone. Something interesting at the beginning of the session, our moderator, CK Koo, said good luck and then listed everyone's name at the table. In our show, the players interact with the chat. And Raver was in the game, and he said, hey, CK, that's not how it works. You can't wish everyone luck. This is poker. That can't happen. And this jackpot proved Raver wrong. And that was kind of interesting. Cass pointed that out. And so that's amazing. A jackpot on stream. You love to see it. And then something even more amazing happened as players started leaving. Well, Texas Mike didn't show up for this one, but his buddy Pink did. And he came in firing. And I kept flopping top pair. And I kept calling him down. And not only was my top pair good when the money went in, it held, I think, every time. And I was also able to get some nice bluffs through. Where you're in a big pot, you're in there with 4s, and it comes ace, jack, X, and no 4, but you continuation bet because you got the stronger range, because you overplayed it pre-flop, like a gentleman. And then the turn is a king, and everyone checks. You're not trying to bluff multiple players. And then the river is a 10. Okay, so now a queen makes a straight, and they check to you, and you're pretty sure no one has a queen. And now you can bet it. Now you can rep that queen and fold out anything that isn't a straight. But if you're not turning over the best hand over and over and over and over, you're getting looked up because they know you bluff all the time. They've seen you play on stream. They may have listened to your podcast. They may have followed your thread on 2+2 decades ago. You always try and win the pot. So you typically get looked up in these spots, but not on this night because I was the chosen one. I was the one that kept getting the best hand. I can't tell you how long it's been since I've been the chosen one. And it just really went well as the night wore on. And soon it's 5 a.m. and it's down to me and Pink. And I am up a considerable amount. And he wants to flip for whatever he has left. Maybe 1,000, 2,000. And maybe he wins the first one, but then he loses and loses. And I'm beating him in flips too. So this is it. He says, give me one more. Because that goes. The guy's like, give me one flip. You're like, okay, but then I got to go. I got to work tomorrow. I'm 51 years old. It's not too healthy for me to stay up all night. And plus, I do need to book a win. But you're like, okay, one more. And then he said, okay, finally, when I thought it was over, he said, one more, a big one. And we're going to flip for a high mileage, early 2000s 4Runner. We're each going to put that in the middle. So if he was someone I didn't know and I was somewhere else, would I do it? Maybe, but probably not. But if he's someone who supports the show and provided all the action, and it's my stream at the casino that I'm, an ambassador for, okay, this is it. So at this point, I am up 3 early 2000s high mileage 4Runners and a moped. if you will. And Pink wants to flip for a 4-runner each. So we do it. And it was just us two for a while. And the dealer was hilarious. His name is Chong. And he was just kind of like laughing at how hot I was running in the flips. And Pink made a very good play. He said, listen, Chong, this is a big one. And in this one, you're not allowed to show any emotion. He's just being funny, but he's trying to disrupt the flow of me winning all the pots and flips. And so Chung nods his head, and now he can't show any emotion, and Pink wins the big flip. The one with 2 early 2000s high mileage 4-runners, which is what I drive, in case you didn't know. So that's okay. I could have won 4 4-runners in a moped. I won 2 in a moped. And it's 5:30 a.m. And I go to the cage, and this is the first time in well over a year that I was the chosen one. And that's different. I took an Uber home, and I got some sleep. Let me take a sip of water. Got up on Wednesday, April 30th, WCL. What does that mean? Well, the patrons know what WCL is. So if you want to know what WCL is, and I know you do, you know where to sign up. Anyways, then I went for a walk, took a shower, and I headed into the Hustler for the second watch party. This is night 2 of the $1 Million Game. And so upstairs in Larry Flint's Bar and Grill, there are 7 poker tables. And whenever there's a big event, I have them put shuffle machines for each poker table. And for the $1 Million Game, I have them put the stream on every TV, and I have them put surround sound on, and I have them turn off all the casino announcements. You know, Mama Joe, 4-8, Omaha, Mama Joe, like they turn all that down. So you're up there, you're playing poker in this great setting, full bar. You can order food up there, and you can watch the $1 Million Game with sound. And year 1, I did this, and it becomes like a pretty big event. And what was interesting is, just to go off the tracks here a little bit, year 1, Tom Dwan won the biggest pot in the history of televised poker. And there was a documentary crew there. Okay, well, we film on an hour or so delay. And so the documentary crew asked me, I had a microphone up my shirt, and they were following me around and in the booth and all that. And they said, can you kind of get people excited about this when it comes on the TV? And, you know, we're going to capture it. The biggest pot in the history of televised poker, airing for the first time live, but, you know, it's an hour after it actually happened. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And, you know, a lot of people up there. And I said, hey, look at this pot developing. And, you know, they got their cameras, they got boom mics, all this shit. People are looking at the TV. And then Tom Dwan, who won the pot, walks up to me. He's taking a break an hour later. And it's like, what's up, DGAF? Let's have a Corona. So it killed the moment for the documentary crew, but it was pretty fucking funny. I could only laugh. And the point is, it's a cool event. The players go up there. Peter went up there. Brittany went up there this year. And anyways, this is night 2. And I organize these things. They didn't have it $1 Million Game 2 because I wasn't working there. And then this year, the photographer and graphics guy for Hustler Casino, John, said to Yapel, hey, Billy's back. We can do a watch party. Why? Because I used to be a carny. Many years ago, I was a fucking carny. Carnies are hustlers. And yeah, you got to get people to spend their money. They're going to walk by your basketball game with the oval rims, and then be like, that shit's rigged. Well, not if you can only see it from the side, that it's oval. So what you do is on the nets on the side, you hang 1 billion gigantic stuffed animals, teddy bears, whatever else. So they can't really see. So it's an optical illusion. And, these things are usually set up sometimes at big fairs, but it was better when it was at like a street fair. And there's a lot of gangsters and their girlfriends want these teddy bears. And you got to get $100 from said gangster. And you got to make sure he wins that teddy bear. And you got to also make sure he's not pissed off. And that's hustling. It's a soft hustle. Everyone wins. You get the $100 for the teddy bear that costs a lot less than that. The girlfriend's happy. And when the girlfriend's happy, the gangster's happy. So anyways, they tasked me with this again this year. And this is night 2. The first night, I kind of set it up and then I opened the show as commentator. Well, I'm closing the show on night 2 of the $1 Million Game as commentator. So I'm going to be up there for a while. And I'm going to get the first game going. And I did that. And we're playing 2-3 no limit, $100 to $500 buy-in. And I bought in for $500. I'll be a fucking max buy-in boss in the 2-3 game. Yeah. What's the max? 500. Okay, I'm in for 500. Now in a bigger game, what's the min? That's just state of affairs. Wasn't always like that for me. But anyways, so I'm in there mixing up a little bit. I'm also just like taking care of this and that and up from the table a bunch. And anyways, I get pocket 8s and I 3-bet. And on my left is Aaron Queskin, who I brought up there to help me get this first game started. And I bought him a bucket of beer. And he goes all in. And it folds around to me, and I call with my 8s. And he has ace-6 offsuit. And run it twice, and he spikes an ace on both. But he had a little less than 500. He had maybe 400. But just to provide a little context to those of you who follow him on X, he later posted a picture of his chip stack like many hours later. Hey, it was fun at the watch party. I lost every big pot early on. I had to grind it back for a little profit. And I saw this and I'm thinking, this motherfucker lost every big pot early on when he literally cold 4-bet jammed ace-6 offsuit. I called with 8s. We ran it twice and he scooped. That's a poker player though, isn't it? In it, Nick Rose. In it. I lost every big pot and I grinded it back. No, you were spewing the whole entire time and you got lucky late. And that's not him, that's everyone. But anyways, so he nubs me. I got maybe $100 left. And I said, I'm gonna rebuild this 100. I'm gonna battle back. And I do. I'm shoving and taking down the blinds plus whatever the open is. The blinds, the straddle plus whatever the open is. And I'm getting, I may have get to like 200 or so. 240. And then I go all in with ace queen and someone calls me with ace jack and we run it once and I hold. Okay, so I'm back to about 500. And then I have 9-5 of hearts and it comes 9-7-6, 2 clubs and a heart. And I bet, and this wonderful lady from Chicago, part of the Chicago crew, Texas Mike brought out a crew. You might have seen Alla. I think he finished 3rd in the 25K satellite. You know about Pink, probably. He finished, I think, 40th in the 40-person satellite. And that's okay because, he fired many bullets and tried his hardest. But Mung is part of this crew, and there are others as well. And she went all in, and she's action. She's from Chicago. She's action. So I call with 9-5 of hearts on 9-7-6, 2 clubs, 1 heart. She has 8-7 offsuit. Okay. The turn, she says once. I said, Mung, you want it twice? She says once, bitch, Chi-Town. No, that's not what she said, but she said once. And I said, okay. The turn was a 10 of hearts. Oh, she made it straight. But I now have a flush draw. and I could, chop if I hit a 8 as well. The river was a needle card, a 9. I rivered trips, which was of no help. And it was time for me to rebuy. Okay, so stuck 500 at the watch party. Go to a couple more things, get, DoorDash for some VIPs, go get a t-shirt for someone, just kind of host shit and get back. And when I was downstairs doing something, I saw Pee who plays on the show. And I know him from playing on the casino floor at Hustler. He plays high stakes on the show. I said, "Hey man, I got a really good game for you." He said, "Oh no, I'm gonna watch my friend play, Brittany." I said, "No, you can watch her play, and you're playing 2-3-0 limit upstairs." He said, "All right, I'll come." And what I love is when these high stakes guys who play super solid in their giant games get in the small games, and they're just all in every single hand. And that was the case with him. We got it all in. I had ace king. He had queen 9. We ran it twice. I said twice. He said okay. We chopped. And it comes down to this. I'm all in again with ace queen. He has king deuce or king 3 suited, and I believe Mung has king deuce suited, and it comes king high, and that's my second buy-in down the drain. And it's time for me to go commentate day 2 of the $1 million game. So I lost that moped back, but I still won 2 early 2000s high mileage forerunners on the week. That's a good week of poker. Haven't had many of those recently. I'll take it. You want to know what happens next? You got to go to patreon.com/DGAF poker player, and you got to cough up that $422 a month. I know it's a lot, but you got to do it if you want to know what happens next. All right, let's check the goals real quick, and then let's get you out of here. 3 goals on the year, 50-50 tilt. I want half of the weeks I play poker for me to not go to the dark place. Sure, it's okay if I get a little frustrated in a hand after a hand. Everyone does. That's human. But I can't go to the dark place, which I can still play poker when I'm in the dark place, and I've booked wins in the dark place, hundreds of them in my career. But they really set me back mentally. If I go to the dark place, the real tilt, I feel like shit for 2 days. And I hate it. And so therefore I made it a goal. And I want to only go there half the weeks I play poker. It's better than 100% of the weeks I play poker. So it's a focus, believe it or not. And I did not tilt this week. They didn't really give me a chance to tilt in that first session. Sure, the first buy-in was normal death run shit. But I went for a walk, and then right away, when I came back, I won that PLO, double board PLO bomb pot hand, and then I became the bounty, and then I got that cooler against Suited Superman, who has killed me. He has killed me. Call me down with 2 outs and bink. Got it in with king queen offsuit against my ace king suited, ran twice, and fucking felted me for 3K or whatever the week before. Well, I coolered him, and I just had that one setback against Julie from Palmdale where my aces and 8s got counterfeited. And they didn't give me a chance to tilt in the first session. So that can happen. You can run in such a way that it's impossible even for a grizzled vet who works way too much and is under way too much duress, financially and otherwise, to tilt. Well, in this one, these were tilting runouts, weren't they? 8s against the ace-6 offsuit, run twice, lose both. And get it in good against Mung, lose. And then finally get it in with ace-queen against king-deuce suited and king-3 suited and lose. But it was a small game, relatively speaking. I'm not saying $1,000 is nothing, but, I was coming off a big win. It didn't really bother me. And I was sober because I was going into work. So add one to the side of no tilt. That gives me 8 weeks of no tilt and 10 weeks of tilt. And I realize we're in week 17, so that's an accounting error by my sound guy who does this. Sound guy. He's supposed to be here, but he got in some trouble last night. So he's not here. I had to hit record myself. I had to test the mic. I had to set up, my mini recording studio here in my apartment in North County, San Diego. But he's supposed to do the accounting. And so it doesn't make sense that it's 8 and 10, 17 weeks in. But it is, because I think 1 week he counted by session. And so 1 session tilt, 1 session not. Anyways, 8 not tilt, 10 tilt. I am within striking distance of hitting this goal for the year, but I'm behind. It's okay. The next one, I'm way behind. I want to get out of makeup, start earning for the backers. Like I did so well when I was at HCL and playing on Max Pay Monday and Thirsty Thursday. Well, last year was my worst poker year ever, my second losing year ever, and maybe the worst year of my life. Maybe worse than the year I hit rock bottom. It's close. Anyways, I ended that year $61,810 in makeup, and this year's been better in every way except for poker. And I was able to, I got over 90K in makeup going into the week, but we're at 74,130. So it's better than 90 something, but it's still a long way to go. And I still believe I am going to hit this goal as well. My third goal is 230. I want to weigh 230 or less by the end of the year. This is one of those goals where you can hit, but you must maintain in order to hit by the end of the year. I started the year at 247.3. My high point was 260. I really unraveled as a human being a week after Jack 4 when everyone started accusing me of being a cheater because I was winning and I was sitting in the same fucking seat as Robbie and I wore sunglasses and they slid down my nose sometimes. So I gained 40, I weighed about 220 when things were going well. I gained 40 pounds. I went up to 260. And then, I was focused on it last year, but only, chipped away about 13 pounds. So that's why I set a more attainable goal this year from 247.3 to 230. Well, last week I was beating the goal at 228.7 and I just weighed myself before I hit record. Sound guy wasn't here to do it. And if you're going to weigh yourself, you got to be smart. Take a piss right before, take off your shorts, take all your clothes off, get naked. And I weighed 224.9. Not bad. I want to keep going down. I have to, once I lose another 10 pounds or so, I will Google what a healthy weight is for me. I think I'm 6'2". And then that'll be my target weight. But right now I'm just focused on being active. No matter how much work I have, I get exercise almost every single day. I go for a lot of walks when I'm up in Long Beach. And I can work on walks. And in San Diego, I am not an official coach for my kids currently. I've coached both of them plenty, but they're both playing AAU. But I take them to the park or open gym all the time and I play. So, yeah, that one's going well. And sometimes it's important to feel good about whatever in your life is going well. Until next week, peace.